Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for July 19, 2023, the Will KPMG Ever Stop Cheating edition. And we begin with that story from the Dutch News, a first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News, which reports that at least 500 workers at KPMG in the Netherlands have cheated during compulsory exams which accountants are required to take. The consultancy group has confirmed. KPMG says it has imposed sanctions on people. The KPMG Netherlands director has stepped down, as well as the supervisory board chair and former NS boss has stepped down 2 years ahead of schedule. So you have to ask, will KPMG ever stop cheating? Having been through a major cheating scandal on this exact issue here in the United States, and allegations in England. This is just unbelievable of the culture at KPMG, or perhaps not. Next up, another first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News, Euratctiv, reports that Czechia, what we used to call Czechoslovakia before it split from Slovakia, has announced it opposes the proposed EU directive to harmonize penalties for corruptions across the EU. The country has doubts of some of the measures presented in the proposal. The upper chamber of the Czech parliament took aim at the potential introduction of a penalty for corruption of the deprivation of right to stand for election and the requirements for deciding whether to waive immunity of public officials. Apparently, Czechia doesn't want that. Go figure. Our final story comes to us from Harry Casson at the FCPA Blog. And there are lots of articles on the ongoing and unfortunately burgeoning corruption scandal in Singapore, which is, at least since I've been in the compliance space, been traditionally viewed as one of the world's most least corrupt countries. And Harry asks, does Singapore have a corruption problem? And in the first 7 months of this year, it's had 3 major corruption scandals. And now we have a very huge scandal that is continued burgeoning around a hotel developer and government officials. Harry poses 2 theories as to why this is happening. There's more corruption in Singapore than it used to be, and the country is changing and corruption is seeping in. There's always been corruption in Singapore, and it's coming to light. Whichever it is, it's certainly impacting Singapore's reputation for squeaky cleanness on the world stage. Thanks, Harry. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.